Okay, so the other thing you need to be aware of, and I can vouch for this when I was an HR director, is HR people are looking at your social media pages. Generally, they'll look at your LinkedIn. You will never know because they've got a corporate account that doesn't show you that they viewed your profile. So they pay a higher premium subscription to LinkedIn for that capability. They may look at your Facebook page. They may look at your Instagram page if it's targeting the younger generation. So make sure you don't have any photos on there that are overly, I don't know, angry about Trump, or, political or party views or too much skin. All of those things may count against you. So that's something you should be aware of. And then, yeah, we want to make sure that you do have kind of a pleasant profile in each of those tools. So I particularly help people with their LinkedIn profile. So I just helped two clients, a podiatrist and a banker, help them rewrite their about summary in their LinkedIn profile to have a bit more human voice in it. You have to do the resume first, and then that you make sure that the job history matches your resume, which I called that out for someone recently, because recruiters will throw your application out as well. If they look up your LinkedIn profile, they find the job history is different than your resume, they think you're lying or you're either not attentive to detail. So just be prepared for that and pay attention to it. And the other thing on LinkedIn is you can hide your profile while you're updating it and changing it. So we can show you how to do that in the privacy settings. But a lot of these platforms are being used more often to find people. So I had a lady, Narmada, who was on maternity leave. She was a cybersecurity specialist. And once she turned on her LinkedIn that she was looking for roles, somebody found her and she got a job at Deloitte. So that was great. And she got a great salary, and she had to figure out daycare. Anyways, it's a great story, but they can find you without you applying as well. Okay, and these are the helpful job websites. So we'll send this to you. I particularly love this new one that I've found, which is Work 180. And it's all about companies that are subscribing to have a diverse workforce. And it's big companies as well. So they have a whole section of job advertisements in there and companies that they work with. Beam Australia, I love for women, but they do post part-time jobs for men as well, but it's more geared towards parents who need that flexibility while trying to raise the younger children. Puffling is really interesting, the one at the bottom, which is a lot of companies aren't educated in the idea of job sharing. So let's say you have, and I've come across this, so a department manager who only wants to work 3 days for their children, and then you have another department manager who only wants to work 3 days, and they work really well together, and they both work the off days of each other and share 1 day as handover, and they fill a job 5 days a week, or it might be 2 days and 3 days. But the Puffling website helps the two people find each other and then submit their application for a job to do the job sharing. So I think that's pretty innovative and pretty cool nowadays. Now let's talk a bit about LinkedIn. So it's really good to have a LinkedIn profile because anybody should be able to get 50 contacts once you set up your LinkedIn. So it's people that you know from your school, your children's school, people that you went to school with years ago, people that do your hair, that you go to the gym with, that you play cricket with, that, most people can come up with 50 contacts that they can connect with on LinkedIn. So it's really good to tap into that network of people you know, because they're going to feel confident about recommending you to someone that might have a job opportunity. So this is kind of the value of networking. And don't be afraid to ask strangers on LinkedIn for a coffee date and just tell them you really admire their profile and you would love to get their advice about the industry in Australia, or you've been out of it for a few years. And most people are really happy to give you their advice. If you ask them for a job, probably not get a response. And so I had a lady who had worked in software products, and she had been at the same company 17 years. She she was made redundant. She heard of a company in the US that was starting a branch of their business in Australia. She contacted the head decision maker in the US on LinkedIn and said, I'm really love to work for your company. I'd love to get a job, blah, blah, blah. He never responded. He accepted her LinkedIn request to connect, but then he never responded to her messages. So she was a bit agitated. And I said, look, let's make this easier for you. Let's write him a note and say, hey, I know you're busy. I can meet with you anytime. And we calculated the time zone difference. Anytime next week, Monday through Friday between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. your time. And he wrote back like within a couple hours and said, great, I'll have a 15-minute call with you on this date. And it became an opportunity. She went to work for them. So these are the types of things you want to place as a little pressure on someone as possible, and then make it easier as possible for them to meet up with you. I'll buy you a coffee, or I'll come to you, or I'll do a Zoom webcam for you, even if you can only spare 15 minutes just to get your advice. So be very light when you approach people for that type of information. And also be prepared for the question of what are you looking for? So if you're not clear in your head yet, you have to work that out before you have those networking meetings, because they will ask you and they will immediately start to think, how can they help you? So be prepared. And you can have two things you're looking for, but be clear on those two things. I'm looking for procurement, or I'm looking for project management. Yeah, so be clear.